What is Shogun Method? Shogun Method is a system of attraction techniques that utilizes mind control principles for men to build long-term sexual relationships with women. It focuses on understanding and exploiting the psychological flaws of the female mind to create a deep connection and influence her emotions and actions. It could claim to be the world's first attraction advice program for men based on mind control. Shogun Method has two primary components: the knowledge base and the brotherhood. To date, more than 18,000 men have enrolled into the program. The Shogun Method movement was founded by Rake in January 2015. What is the core idea behind Shogun Method? Shogun Method rests on the principle that a woman's mind is flawed in predictable ways. These flaws make women susceptible to emotional manipulation through mind control techniques like fractionation, implanted commands, devalidation, laddering, entice-repel, subconscious messaging, shared universe building, future projections, false memories, fake breakups, and Shogun Sequences, in particular, the Black Rose. By mastering these techniques, a man can capture a woman's attention, build rapport, and ultimately control her emotions. Some call Shogun Method manipulative, but the truth is, it's not necessarily malicious. As with any tool, malice is in the intentions of its user, not the tool. What are the three key psychological flaws of the female mind? The three key flaws are as follows. 1. Women resist overt seduction attempts and are more susceptible to covert enticement. 2. Women are hardwired to chase what seems impossibly out of reach. And 3. Women can't filter thoughts implanted directly into their subconscious minds. Who is a shogun? A shogun is a practitioner of Shogun Method who agrees to obey the three preconditions as set by Rake as prerequisites to its practice. The official community of shoguns resides at shogunmethod.net and shogunmethodq.com. There are also unofficial groups in the dark web, but we don't endorse these. The teachings discussed in these groups often stray from the Shogun Method canon. What are the three preconditions for successfully applying the Shogun Method? The preconditions are as follows. 1. The shogun must accept his nature as a manipulator. 2. The shogun must conceal his intentions until the manipulation is complete. And 3. The shogun must protect the secrecy and sanctity of Shogun Method and the IRAE model. What is the IRAE model? The IRAE model is the core framework of the Shogun Method, outlining the 4 stages of pair bonding between a woman and her shogun. The first stage in the IRAE model is intrigue. In this stage, the shogun captures the target's attention and creates a sense of mystery. The primary Shogun Method technique of choice is the intrigue ping. The second stage in the IRAE model is rapport. Here, the shogun builds an emotional and spiritual connection with his target by mirroring her behavior and creating a sense of familiarity. The third stage in the IRAE model is the attraction stage. The shogun elicits intense emotions in the woman by alternating between enticing and repelling her using implanted commands and devalidation. The fourth and final stage is emotional enslavement. At the end point, the shogun solidifies the sexual relationship and makes it long-lasting by isolating her and reinforcing her emotional dependence on him. What is enslavement, not seduction? Enslavement, not seduction, is a philosophy that focuses the shogun on long-term emotional control rather than short-term attraction or seduction. Most relationship advice programs direct men to trigger temporary feelings of attraction. Shogun Method is about developing near-permanent sexual bonding through control, dominance, and authority. Enslavement could be a state of the female psyche that cannot be undone, so the shogun must be cautious about and be choiceful with whom to apply this to. How is Shogun Method different from pickup artist or seduction guru programs? There are 9 ways how Shogun Method differs from conventional dating advice program. Difference 1. Shogun Method is about enslavement, not seduction. Seduction is a fool's game. If you want a woman to stick with you forever, you must make her emotionally addicted to you. If you want a happy, long-lasting relationship or marriage, then emotional enslavement is key. Difference 2. Shogun Method is long-term, not short-term. Shogun Method builds healthy, long-term relationships that last a lifetime. It's not for those looking for flimsy one-night stand tricks and short-term flings. Difference 3. Shogun Method works across cultures and languages. Shogun Method is not limited by boundaries, cultures, and languages. It works as long as she understands what you say. Women are wired the same way psychologically, no matter where she's from or what language she speaks. Difference 4. Shogun Method is 100% field-tested. Shogun Method has worked for over 18,000 men around the world. Shoguns are armed with real-life skills that give them the power to navigate through the maze of love and relationships with ease and confidence. Difference 5. Shogun Method has zero flimsy pickup or guru tricks. Pickup artist or PUA tricks and mainstream dating guru advice are too generic or just plain useless. What truly works are mind control tactics leading to emotional addiction, not feel-good pickup lines. Difference 6. Shogun Method is backed by science. Unlike mainstream dating advice, Shogun Method is rooted in scientifically proven female psychology fundamentals and robust, decades-old hypnosis principles. Difference 7. Shoguns are in control. You can go as fast or slow as you want. The beauty of Shogun Method is that the practitioner is entirely in the driver's seat. If he wants fast results, he uses fractionation on his target. Or he could place her on the path to emotional enslavement by putting her on the IRAE model. Difference 8. Shogun Method is not an ebook. Shoguns are part of the brotherhood of Shogun Method practitioners sworn to protect the sanctity of this knowledge. Shogun Method is a movement, more than just a collection of techniques and tricks. Difference 9 is the most important of all. Shogun Method is founded on the cornerstone of virtuous masculinity. Shoguns are archetypes of the modern masculine, skilled across all aspects of the man's life, sexual, spiritual, and social. Shogun Method forms the sexual strategy pillar of the virtuous masculinity philosophy of the modern man. What is virtuous masculinity? Virtuous masculinity centers on virtue, a concept birthed by Machiavelli in Renaissance Italy. Unlike the conventional definition of virtue, it is practical, amoral, and serves the greater purpose of securing power and influence. The virtuous man puts effectiveness and practicality over traditional notions of moral goodness. Ultimately, virtuous masculinity is about acquiring power, both power over self and power over others. Shogun Method demonstrates the virtuous masculinity philosophy in the sexual and relationship aspect of the modern masculine. What are Shogun Sequences? Shogun Sequences are pre-written conversational scripts designed to guide the interaction and trigger specific emotional responses in women. I crafted these sequences to exploit the female mind's vulnerabilities and map the target's progression to emotional enslavement through the 4 stages of the IRAE model. Unlike pickup lines, Shogun Sequences go deeper because of its storytelling and trance-inducing design structure. The Shogun understands how women respond more readily to hot or narrative information rather than cold or analytical information. For a sequence to be successful, he must exploit this flaw in the female mind. The intermediate or advanced Shogun uses these sequences in combination with other mind control techniques to boost their effectiveness. In Shogun Method, we call this practice stacking. The 3 most common tactics Shoguns use to stack the Shogun Sequences are mirroring, anchoring, and implanted commands. What is the best way to deliver Shogun Sequences? There are 3 phases to successfully learning and delivering Shogun Sequences. The first phase is memorizing and delivering the sequences word for word. The second phase involves custom-fitting the sequences to include stories relevant to the woman's personal experiences. The spontaneous creation of original sequences incorporating Shogun Method principles. Here's the thing to understand about Shogun Sequences is this. Word-for-word delivery may be effective, but they are best understood as examples, rather than strict rules. As you gain experience with Shogun Method, you will learn to create your own sequences on the fly. One of the most important aspects of delivering Shogun Sequences is ambiguity. By being vague, you compel the woman to create her own fantasies, which allows you to exploit a flaw in the female mind. Her imagination becomes reality. Ambiguity is associated with romance and excitement, increasing your intrigue. How do implanted commands work? Implanted commands are subtle phrases embedded within regular sentences that bypass a woman's conscious awareness and directly influence her subconscious. They work by mimicking her internal dialogue, by speaking to her in the same way she talks to herself. This forces her to believe that the implanted thoughts are of her own. What is fractionation? Fractionation is a technique that involves rapidly shifting a woman between positive and negative emotional states. This creates an emotional roller coaster that intensifies her feelings and makes her more susceptible to manipulation. Fractionation is the cornerstone of Shogun Method. It is originally a hypnotic phenomenon, but we have retrofitted into Shogun Method to serve one purpose: to induce hypnotic trance in a woman's mind, dismantle her conscious mental barriers and open her subconscious to suggestions. What is the role of storytelling in Shogun Method? Storytelling is a key element of the Shogun Method, especially when building rapport through fractionation. To be proficient in fractionation, the Shogun must master the roller coaster technique. This technique involves telling stories that alternate between conflict and resolution, creating a cycle of emotional highs and lows that keeps the woman engaged. What is the intrigue stage, and what are intrigue pings? The Shogun Method concept of intrigue is the capturing of the woman's attention and bypasses her logical defenses by appealing to her emotions. Shoguns achieve this through intrigue pings that exploits the female mind's tendency to form quick judgments. Intrigue pings are opening lines designed to pique a woman's curiosity and draw her into a conversation. An example would be, "Maybe I shouldn't ask you this because I might regret it," followed by a seemingly innocuous question like, "What's your name?" What is devalidation, and how is it used to attract women? Devalidation is a technique shoguns use to repel a woman consciously by giving mixed signals, displaying negative body language, or strategically creating breakpoints in the interaction. This creates a sense of uncertainty and makes her crave the shogun's validation, deepening her emotional and sexual attraction to him. What are the concepts of action limit and pain limit with relation to desirability of a man to a woman? Action limit is the level of desirability a shogun needs to achieve for a woman to agree to a specific request. Pain limit refers to the threshold of emotional pain a woman can have. These limits directly influences how a woman perceives how desirable the shogun is. What is the Black Rose Sequence, and how does it work? The Black Rose Sequence is the crown jewel of the Shogun Method, aimed at creating an alter ego within the woman that is completely devoted and subservient to the shogun. It involves a complex interplay of advanced Shogun Method techniques. Therefore, it should only be used after mastering the core principle. Executing the Black Rose is considered the ultimate endpoint for Shogun Method, as it represents total emotional control the shogun will have over his target. The effect is usually irreversible unless broken by another shogun. What are the 3 biggest mistakes made by shoguns? Mistake number 1 is disobeying the IRAE model. Shogun Method works in a straight line, and breaking the sequence means ending the woman's hypnotic trance. Mistake number 2 is breaking the second precondition. The shogun must never reveal his intentions to his target until the manipulation is complete. Mistake number 3 is to go overboard into enslavement. The shogun must practice restraint at all times and never push the target into mental and psychological breakdown. Each woman has her limits, and the shogun must calibrate his actions to reach but never exceed those limits. Never, ever use Shogun Method to hurt a woman.